Hey, what's up, guys? It's been a little while since I made a crafting video of any sort, but I wanted to bring you a new one. Recently, we crafted a new armor for the Blade Vortex character that I've been playing recently, and I want to take you through how I did it. The armor in question, which still needs divining, by the way. I gotta farm more divines to get the prefixes and suffixes divine decently. We have a sack garb with elevated shaper reduced reflected taken reflected LE. Then we have elevated explode. We have T1 shaper fist taken as cold, T1 shaper spell crit chance, and ace sling hybrid chaos res. With an open suffix for whatever benchcraft we need. Let's jump right into how this thing was made. Alright, step one. I don't think I caught the beginning of the very beginning of this craft, but the first step is you need to get at minimum level 85 Sacrificial Garb. This one's item level 100. The way we got this was from the div cards. There's a div card called the Sacrifice. It's a stack of 4. I believe it drops some Uber Atziri. I'm not sure if it can be acquired through stack decks anymore since they kind of changed the stack deck pool as far as not being able to acquire like boss drop items. So I'm not sure if you can get these from stack decks anymore, but you could get them from Atziri. That's how we were able to get the high level one. But you're going to get T1 explode onto it, and it's kind of pain champ to do that because it's pretty low weight. So what I ended up doing was I got T1 explode on the armor, just jagged fossil spamming it because it's fizz tagged, and then we annulled it down so that it was the only prefix available, and then we prefix lock scoured it to put it into a magic state, and then from there we were able to imprint it in case anything in this next part went wrong. Which it did 5 times. I missed 5 dominance orbs to elevate the explode. So from magic, with a prefix lock crafted, you're going to imprint that. Then you regal to get the item into a rare state, because once the item's rare, you're able to use harvest reforges. So we do a reforge crit on this item to force the Crusader power charge on crit. Now, before we keep going, let me just mention really quick, if you want to get any influence on this, you're going to use a Crusader Exalt, because the sack garbs that you get are not going to have any influence. So ideally a Crusader X if you have one. If you don't, you can use any one that you have and then randomize influence and harvest until it goes to Crusader. Alright, so we had the T1 explode. We do reforge crit to force a second influence modifier, the power charge on crit. At that point, you're going to want to annul off the prefixes if there's any, while hopefully keeping explode, because the ultimate goal is to get elevated explode by itself, so you can lock prefix and scour it to get it to a magic state. Right? The reason that the magic state is so important is because as of Necropolis League, a new beast was added to the game called Black Morrigan, and some crafts, new crafts were added as well. I missed an orb here. I think this was like my 4th or 5th. Let's see if we can skip ahead a bit to find the actually hitting the explode elevate. But yeah, the reason that you want it to be magic is there is a beastcraft available with Black Morrigan, allows you to apply a Hinekora's lock to a magic item, right? The Hinekora's lock is going to allow you to foresee the result of whatever crafting currency you use on an item, whether it be blessed orbs to reroll implicits, divine orbs to check divines, fusing and chromatic orbs where possible. The item has sockets and links. You can see val orbs for corruption implicits, which is especially important this patch. That's how people are making, you know, triple Synthedorn jewels, trying to hit a corruption implicit. In our case, we used it for Awakener orb. We were able to foresee the result of the Awakener orb. I think I had the explode about here somewhere. I'm trying to find that part. Yeah, we're going for the dominance orb here. I think this is my 5th one. We hit it. We go prefix lock scour. That brings the item to a magic state. And once you have this, you don't need to imprint it anymore. It doesn't need to be imprinted. The second elevated mod I was interested in was the reduced reflected damage taken, because elevated reduced reflected has reduced elemental damage taken as well. In the case of the Blade Vortex character, we run Righteous Fire fairly often, so that gives us less damage taken from Righteous Fire. Additionally, it is reduced reflected elemental damage taken, so because we're ailment immune and, you know, we don't get shocked or anything, and we're fully converting Blade Vortex to cold, we're able to run reflect maps. So that's a really good prefix to have. Usually you're able to get around that with like Awakened Deli with attacks for attack builds, assuming you don't run out of mana. But in the case of spellcasters, you either have to use like an Aceling Flask Craft for reduced reflected damage taken, like Mage Blood or Big Flask Effect, or that Shaper prefix. So the second armor, we elevated that. Next, we started using the Black Morrigan craft to make an imprint, or excuse me, apply a Hinekora's lock to the elevated explode armor, since that one's magic. And what that's going to allow us to do is see what the Awakener orb does when we use it. I was trying to go for T1 Fizz taking this cold Shaper prefix for the 3rd prefix. In Craft of Exile, they didn't have an Awakener orb option to see, like, you know, what prefixes and suffixes you might be able to hit as far as odds are concerned, so I just plugged in an X-Slam. The X-Slam was showing about a 1 in 370 chance. It's probably a little bit better than that. Maybe the odds are between 2 and 3 times higher than that, if I had to guess. So you're probably looking at around 1 in... somewhere between 1 and 120 and 1 and 200, I would say, to hit the desired prefix, because there's only T1 Fizz taken as cold is what we were looking for. Although Crusader does have, and Shaper has it too, Fizz taken as lightning, which you could do. In our case, we elected to go for the cold because I'm not running a Topaz Flask on that Pathfinder. But this process here, we are using the imprint. It costs an imprint and a Black Morrigan. That's the Black Morrigan beast. We're making it into applying Hinekora's lock to the Sac Garb, and then we're checking the result of the Awakener orb. Another thing I want to mention too about this that's really nice is it doesn't consume your second armor, so you can keep reapplying the Awakener orb without having to make another elevated armor, which is awesome. Really amazing. The way you want to remove the Hinekora's lock in this particular case, you can't use the Blessed Orb because there's no range on the implicit mod here. So the only 2 ways to get rid of it would be to use a Chromatic Orb or a Fusing Orb in this case. Obviously, we try to preserve the 6 link. So we like to go for chromes. This is just a mouse over. So what you're gonna do is you right click your Awakener orb, you click it onto the chests that will be destroyed in the process. If we were to click the Awakener orb and go through with it. And then you're not gonna click on your armor immediately. You're just gonna put your mouse over it, and then it's gonna show you what the result is. If the result is what you want, you're going to left click. It's going to remove the lock, and then the Awakener orb process occurs. If the result is not what you want, get your mouse off of that armor, and then you're going to use a chromatic on it. In this case, we didn't want this, so I used the chrome here. It removes the lock, and we're back at the just elevated explode state. Then we reapply the Hinekora's lock and go again. That process just repeats until we hit what we're looking for. Be coming up pretty soon here. I got pretty lucky. It took me less than 20 attempts at this to hit the T1 Fizz taking us cold. We got very, very lucky. We hit it there. There we hit it. From there, the next step would be to lock prefix and reforge caster, because caster reforges is going to force shaper spell crit chance and the suffix. There's 2 tiers of it, so you just keep doing that till you hit T1. With an armor like this, we did run into a situation where the suffix is filled on one of the caster reforges, and I had to use 3 Hinekora's locks to protect my prefixes and then null off a suffix, so I could continue crafting on it. In trade, it's kind of up in the air whether you do that or not, because Hinekora's locks are pretty expensive. But here in SSF, I did not want to be involved in recrafting this armor from the beginning again, so I thought it was a good use of Hinekora's locks. After we had the spell crit, I had to go farm Veiled Orbs, which was not fun. I think it took about 35 Katarinas, maybe 40, to get 5 Veiled Orbs. It took me 5 to hit what I wanted. And at this point, too, I was also out of locks. If I had, like, an abundance of locks, I would probably use Hinekora's locks at this step, because it'll allow you to foresee the result of the Veiled Orb. So you can see whether it, removes the spell crit or not. But I ran out of those, so I couldn't do anymore. So here, like, we have the spell crit. Prefix can't be changed to protect the prefixes. We're 50-50ing the spell crit chance. In this case, the spell crit chance stayed, which is the desired outcome. Our best blocker is Regen ES. You look at Craft of Exile really quickly. I'll show you. Go to body armor. Get the veiled suffixes. For that particular armor, any of the hybrid attribute mods, or any of the hybrid chaos res mods is what I was looking for. Ideally, this one for the hybrid chaos res, the lightning, which we actually hit, which is awesome. Everything is in a different mod group here, which makes it a little bit tougher to block out a bunch of stuff. So we just went for the highest weight blocker. There's 1500 weight on the Regen ES. I use that as my blocker. I believe it took us 5 Veiled Orb attempts to hit this. So we got the Regen ES on. Putting it in the window at Aceling or at Jun to try to hit the unveil. And we got lucky. Well, I don't want to say we got lucky or not. Approximately a 1 in 4 by weight. Took us 5 tries, so pretty close to average, slightly worse. But yeah, that's how we made the armor. Just want to take you guys through that real quick since I hadn't made a crafting video in quite some time, and Black Morrigans are new for Necropolis. There's probably other content creators, I'm sure, by now at this point, since it's very late in the league, who have shown Morrigan crafting. But I really wanted to make a new armor for BB, and we were able to do it, thankfully. My plans for next league, I'm probably going to start SSF in the Calgar Settlers League. Thinking about raise Vortex of some sort. I haven't really got everything planned out yet, but I got to do a little bit of POBing, see what we can put together. But my plan is to split my time between SSF Standard, so we'll be playing that some as well, since I still have like a lot of projects I'm trying to work on there. But we're also going to spend some time in the Settlers League too, see what we could do. There's definitely some interesting weapon enchants that we saw, as well as for combinators. There is recoms back through the mechanic, so we'll see if we can put anything interesting together. Thinking about making a new Fizzbow, but I'm not 100% sure on that. One of the tricky things about doing that is perfect fossils got changed, so you're no longer able to acquire 30% quality that way. Hillock was removed from Syndicate as far as applying quality to items, so you can't get 30 quality that way. Tainted Currency is going to max out at 20% quality, so even if you corrupt, you can't get 29%. And then also the 30 quality Beast Corruption craft is no longer in the game either. And another thing that's not in the game as well is you're no longer able to remove fractures from items with the vendor recipe. That's also being removed. So the only way to get a 30 quality item is you have to drop it. Not only that, you need to drop it at the correct eye level to try to get the mod you want. Then you have to hit the fracture also. And if the fracture misses, you need to go farm another 30 quality item. So I think it's going to be pretty tricky trying to make not just single fractured items, but you know, double and triple fracture, 30 quality spine Fizzbow with like fracture plus 2 arrow and 2 fractured T1 Fizz prefixes. Is going to be quite difficult. Also, you know, including the recombination success chance. They did say that they were changed. As far as I know, recombinators are just no longer able to hit the mutated mods. So like you're not able to hit, you know, +1 max charges on rings, or, you know, damage per attribute mods on boots, or like socketed gems supported by Empower, Enlighten, Enhance on gloves. Those things you can't hit anymore. But as far as I know, they haven't changed the odds or anything on the recombinators, but we're not going to find that out until the league actually starts and we start doing it. If you're interested on a recombinator guide, you go onto the PoE-DB website and you go into Sentinel League. I believe towards the bottom of the page, there's 2 separate links. They're very thorough written guides. They'll take you to a Reddit post that Ironverse Wild wrote during that league, where he explains how they work. It gives a few examples of you know, what the rates are for hitting what you're looking for. And I think there's also, within that Reddit post, there should be a link to a recombinator calculator on an Excel spreadsheet where you can just, you know, plug stuff in to see what your odds are. Yeah, that's it, guys. Just wanted to make that video for the Blade Vortex armor. Give you a little update on what the plans are for the Settler League. Thank you so much for watching. And my plan is to try to make some more videos too. I know I've been kind of laying low in that respect, but I do want to make more videos, more crafting videos. Again, thank you guys for watching. Next one.